Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Kelly Wilson, Director of Community Partners at Taste the Local Difference. I'm going at you live, and we'll soon be joined with Allison from Last Bite Chef. She's gonna, she's actually here right now. Let's get her in. All right, looks like she's getting connected. Hey,
Hi.
how are you doing today?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I'm relying on my phone and my headphones, so I'm always a little worried.
It sounds great, and we can
Okay,
see
good.
clearly, so you're just fine. Do you want
Fantastic.
to introduce yourself to everybody for those people?
Sure, although were you done with your introduction?
Yeah, I'm good. Go for it.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So yeah, my name is Allison Anastasio. My business is called Last Bite Chef, based in Ann Arbor. And I do a lot of different things in my business, all culinary. The primary crux is personal chef work. So I cook from scratch meals for families in the Ann Arbor area, really focusing on local ingredients, seasonal menus, and with real global inspiration, a lot of fiber, a lot of flavor, um, and a lot of colors, textures, very vibrant food.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that as the bulk of my work. But and I consider myself lucky to do that, to feed families so that they can sit at their table at night and know that someone has handmade their food and they can sit and relax and enjoy each other's company. And that is my blessing as a chef, to be able to facilitate that. But even more important to me than that is the ability to teach people how to cook for themselves, to use local ingredients, and to use culinary techniques that have sort of gone out of favor. Because of the abundance of convenience foods that we all have, it's so easy to grab things from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But my passion is really to get people back into the kitchen and to be cooking for themselves and their families. And so at the end of last year, inspired by COVID a little bit and my lack of being able to teach in person, I started a cooking class series that runs every Sunday evening from 4:30 to 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of great online cooking classes out there, but I was looking.
Oh, it looks like Allison, are you still there?
I
Oh,
am.
okay. It just we had a little technical blip there. So you were
Okay, I don't
saying
know if it was.
what kind of
Okay,
classes
good.
are you looking for?
Yeah, so the cooking, there's a lot of opportunities for online cooking these days, especially because of COVID. And but I know, because from my own experience, people and families don't necessarily want to be on a 3-hour class and end up with several dishes. And so the purpose of this class is to teach one topic in 1 hour. We've done things like a galette, which is a free form pie, to making our own ravioli, to latkes, mac and cheese for Valentine's Day. We just did last week. This coming Sunday, we're doing Italian risotto. And my goal with all of these techniques, again, is to get you to be able to take them into your own kitchen with your own families. And then at the end of the hour at 5:30, we've met together as a small group. I've taught you what I know from my professional experience and from my long experience as a home cook. But also, you get to hang up with me and sit down with your family at 5:30 and eat something warm that you've created. I have a lot of repeat customers who are coming back with their families every Sunday, and that really warms my heart, because that shows me that I'm hitting that niche, which is what I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one other thing I'm doing, which kind of parlays into this meeting today, is um, I'm taking the opportunity, again, stretching myself as far as social media and just interfacing with people online, because I do have so much to share and so much to teach. But again, COVID and certain other dynamics make it hard. So once a week, I'm picking one seasonal vegetable that is available locally, Sometimes in Michigan, it's a little hard. So now we're into the storage crops. But what I'm doing is recording a video at the end of every week, and that focuses on one vegetable. I talk a little bit about it nutritionally, talk about where you can get it, and then also talk about a creative way that you can incorporate it that's sort of outside of the standard, roasting or just turning it into a regular salad.
Yeah, I love the recipes that you've been sharing, like the beet hummus and that cauliflower dish you just did that was like gorgeous.
Yeah. I also, again, planning in the future, I'm in late spring and summer, I'm going to be starting another series that's going to be a 4-part series on vegetarian and vegan cooking. But sometimes people and I'm an omnivore, I eat everything as long as it's thoughtfully grown. But a lot of people get nervous when they hear that because they think it means they're going to lose the indulgent aspect of it or that satisfying aspect. And I'm just here to tell you that that's not the case. And so I'm going to start a cooking series called Vegetarian Food for Omnivores. And it's just going to be a 4-part series. I hope to be able to run it twice. Not quite sure about the timing yet. Again, we'll see where we are if we're all going to be inside our homes. Hopefully we can be out a little more, maybe a weekday evening, maybe a Saturday morning, but just asking people to commit to that 4 weeks to learn how to use different grains, how to use vegetables in a way that is actually satisfying, that moves them from the edge of the plate to the center of the plate. Yeah. And I'm sure for most of people tuning in, they know that vegetables, are the answer. Plant-based cuisine is really what's going to help us for sustainability, personally, physically, but also for the environment. So yeah, I think it deserves a little bit of attention, and I'm going to have that opportunity coming up too.
Oh, I'm super excited to follow. Yeah. That sounds great. And you're showing us how to make a plant-forward dish.
Yeah.
Right?
I am. Yeah. And I'm using a few different techniques. I'm going to put my glasses down. I need them a little bit, but there's so much. I shouldn't complain because it's nice and bright the sun where I am, so reflecting off the snow, but it makes it funny glare. So one of the ingredients right now that's available is carrots. And yes, of course, you can buy the horse carrots at Speedway. This is not what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm talking about carrots that you can get at any grocery store, organically grown or not, it's your choice. Although I will suggest any vegetable that grows in the ground, you have to think that this outer skin has been in contact with the soil and with the earth. So it pays for certain vegetables to invest in that organic, if you trust the organic purveyors. Now, these fantastic carrots are from Tantra Farm. They're rainbow carrots. And I just love that vibrant, yellow, orange inside. They're great. Even, I'm doing something a little more creative today, but these are fantastic for roasting because they have that variation in color. Another thing that Argus Farm Stop has right now is these from Monroe. I'm going to drop them all over. Monroe Family Farm. They're so lovely. And they must have a hoop house that they're growing them in. They are just so sweet and so fantastic. And every time I go in there, I can't help myself. I have to grab a bag, even if I don't have a recipe. They're just great for snacking. The baby carrots that we buy at the grocery store that are in that bag and they smell like chlorine. I guess, it's better than it's better to eat those every day than potato chips every day, but those are just kind of cored from those big carrots and they don't have the same flavor as these. So definitely pop over to Argus and get these. I love them. So yes, roasting it, turning into soups, all of these techniques that I've been going through every Friday apply to all of these vegetables in some way or another. You could turn, these into hummus. Although these delicate ones, it would sure be a waste because they're just so beautiful. Yeah, I know. But I'm always looking for ways to really get that comfort food, that healthy indulgence, that satisfaction. And so, yes, we're going to make really quickly, because I've not been babbling, carrot and halloumi fritters. Now, for those of you who don't know, halloumi is a cheese with a very tight curd. It has a very meaty texture, and it actually has a nice salt content too. It's a Mediterranean in its roots, you know, it's a Greek cheese, and in other countries in that region all have some cheese with a slightly different name. It comes in a block, a cryovac block. So I actually shredded that today in this recipe, and you'll see when it calls for halloumi, I shredded it the same way I shredded the carrots. I'm going to show you those ingredients in a second, but I also wanted to talk about one of my other favorite local ingredients, local suppliers, is these granary oats. Oh. I don't know, Kelly, if you've ever had them, but they're in stores like Bush's, and I know Arbor Farms Market, they actually have the groats in a big container and you grind them to order, or they flatten them to order. So this recipe for these carrot and halloumi fritters are actually gluten-free as well. Don't be scared by that. If you can eat gluten, good for you. But I like to also think about how to incorporate whole grains in a different way. So I took some of that granary oats and I just pulsed it in my food processor to make kind of an oat flour. Mm-hmm. In this recipe, you know, you can buy oat flour, but in this recipe, I just buzzed it, so it's easier. If you don't want to use that, you could use any of your favorite flours or gluten-free flours. But this is one in particular I wanted to highlight because I really like the company and the product. So I'll just show you here. This is basically the ingredients. So I have shredded carrots. I have some of the rainbow and a few of the small ones. The cheese, a mix of finely chopped dill, parsley, and green onion. Okay. Here I have some of the oat flour, I have sesame seeds, and then a little pile of spices. In this particular recipe, I chose the warming spices of cumin and coriander, and also smoked paprika, which is one of my favorites to throw in there. I salted it as well, and I mixed it into a mixture that was very much kind of at the end with an egg. Very much looks like a meatball kind of a texture. Mm-hmm. I will say in the recipe that I sent out that I think you're going to post later, I only called for 1 egg, but I think because I grinded the oats myself, or ground, I guess it's ground. And because of the carrot, the certain moisture in the carrot, I actually had to add 2 eggs, not just 1, to get this texture so that I could form the balls into little patties like this.
Oh, yes. Okay. So be flexible, pay attention to the moisture level, and maybe add more egg if you need it thick.
Exactly. And or if you don't want to add another egg, you could add a little bit of tahini, which is a sesame paste. Again, if that's something that is in your arsenal, in your toolkit, then absolutely add some of that into here. It'll echo the pop of the sesame seed and also give you some of that texture to help hold it together. I was going to say one other thing, but it left my mind. So then what I'm going to do, I'll just show you right here. I have a skillet going right here.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the recipe, what I suggest for anything like this is, especially if it's grain-based, to make the balls or make the mixture and just let them sit a little bit, because that grain needs to hydrate, you know. And then I preheated a pan with a little bit of oil. It just helps me, again, if I form a lot of them, then I can move them right here. You could actually bake them if you didn't want to do this, that would be fine too. But basically I'm looking for 2 to 3 minutes per side until they get really dark. You're looking for that caramelization of the carrots, of the oats, of that crispy texture. And I just remembered what I was going to say, which is, in my cooking classes on Sunday night, I always send a recipe in advance so that you can do shopping at your local markets or wherever you live. I've had people join from all over the world. I was happy to see someone from Amsterdam in my class, and I thought, well, this is fantastic. Yeah. So I provide a link to do simple online shopping for that. But a lot of times, you know, you read a recipe and cooking is not as formulaic as a recipe. And you have to learn how to be an intuitive cook. Whether you're a home cook, no matter what kind of cooking you need to do, you have to learn to trust yourself a little bit. And that is something that we often talk about in Sunday night. class, in this bite-sized series, yes, I give you a recipe, but I'm really encouraging you to cook with instinct based on what I'm teaching you through the process. So
Sure.
yes, the recipe says 1 egg, but what am I looking for to judge? Actually, I think I need a second egg. And so that's why these Sunday night classes are so helpful, because anybody can cook through a recipe. We can all do that, but you have to learn some instincts and some kind of cues to figure out where to apply the instinct.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah, so important. So I cooked them 2 or 3 minutes per side,
Okay.
and I'm looking for this kind of texture.
Oh,
So
sure.
you'll see right here. So what I did though, and I just want to point out that when I flipped it over, I pushed down slightly. And I did that not because I wanted to make it dense and compact, but I just wanted to make sure that there was as much surface area touching the hot pan to get a crispy surface. So I did just blot it on a paper towel and then put it up on a rack like this. So a lot of times you'll read recipes from online and they'll say, put your fried items on paper towel and let it sit. But the truth is, if you let it sit, then it'll start to get, steam will release, absorb into the paper towel, and then you'll lose the crispiness on the underside. And for an item like this or a latke, you want that crunchy. You want that, so I like to, yes, you do need to sometimes for a shallow fried thing, you need to blot the oil, but it's important then to move it to a rack. So really quickly now, I'll show you this dipping sauce. This is just the ingredients here. It's going to spill out if I tip it anymore. But again, it's in the recipe. It is about a cup of this Fluffy Bottom Farms Greek yogurt. Yep. And you can use any yogurt. I just happen to have this, and I love this company, or some of the other ones that Argus has. And then I flavored this yogurt with a little bit of harissa, which is a Moroccan spice paste. Any brand you can find will work well. Some honey, and honey is an ingredient where, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't use local honey, you might as well just use corn syrup, right? I mean, those documentaries about what they do to honey, mass-produced honey, are pretty terrible. And then a little bit of salt and a little bit of olive oil. And I just want to whisk it together then to get this kind of vibrant color harissa yogurt. Because the actual fritters themselves are not that spicy.
Sure, you're getting it from the sauce.
Yeah, from the sauce. And then to plate something like this, I have a mixture here of radicchio, some of the same herbs from the fritter, the dill and the parsley, and then some carrot ribbons that I just used a peeler, right? And I'm just going to put some of that in the bowl to serve. And then either, I could just drizzle a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of vinegar if I wanted to, just a little bit of salt. But you remember you have this really nice acidic harissa yogurt, and I'm on there. And I'm just going to use that salad to kind of hold them up. And then one last little tip to get in now, although I'll talk about it all the time when you come back, is as home cooks, we often season with salt and pepper. It's what we're trained to do, but it's really important to season with acid. It's really changes the nature of every single dish if you balance it with acid. So for something like this, not only because I have left the salad very lightly dressed, but also to counter the crisp and the kind of the fattiness of that fritter, I'm gonna just squeeze like maybe a quarter of a lime on top of each plate. Now, if you're serving this at a table, you might actually just want to put a wedge and let people do it themselves.
That looks so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I want to come over and eat now.
Really, seriously, I would. If you lived closer, I'd just walk it over. So I know that's a lot. I talk fast, but it's because there's a lot that I really have to share. So, if people have any questions, they can always email me. I love to just get random food questions. So my email is allison@lastbitechef.com, because my website is lastbitechef.com, which now has a lot of meanings, but came a long time ago that my sister and I always used to fight over the best last bite of whatever we had. So, and it kind of stuck. I didn't know if it would, but it stuck. 10 years so far, and it stuck. So,
and your website where people go to sign up for the cooking classes, those last Sunday night cooking, right?
Yep. And there's a tab, there's an announcement bar on the top that'll lead you right to that site or sub page of the site. It's lastbitechef.com/teaching. And it'll get the full calendar. They're scheduled right now all the way through May, and the series is going to continue throughout the year. And hopefully it'll just repeat itself next year. So for people who've missed, December and January, they'll get those techniques under their belt. But yeah, that's where all the information is.
Well, that's so exciting. Well, thank you for sharing your passion and your time with us and sharing this recipe. Folks, if you didn't quite catch the whole recipe, it's going to be posted after this video so you can follow that along in your own kitchen and make those amazing looking fritters. I'm myself.
Here, I'll tease you a little more.
They look so good. Well, thanks so much, Allison.
Thank you.
The rest of your day and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.